because we've seen a lot of week one results that have not proved to have anything to do with reality. The most famous of them all came in 2003. The Patriots in week one lost 31-0 to the Bills. You figure, well, they're awful. Well, the next thing they did was they won 17 of the next 18 games and won the Super Bowl. Let's go to the very famous 2011 Eagles. They were called the Dream Team. Remember what a disaster that turned out to be? They won big week one, 31-13. We thought, oh, they really are going to be that good. Then they lost 6 of their next 8 and became a cautionary tale in football history. And then if you want something more recent, let's jump to just last year. The New Orleans Saints scored 47 points in their opener. By the way, they scored 44 in week 2. And we thought, oh my goodness, what an offense this is. And then they lost 12 of their next 15 games and finished 24th in scoring offense. So those were false starts. So let me ask you, coming off of week 1, Jeff Saturday, some of the things we saw, were these real or were these things that we will forget about as we move forward? So the Lions looked awful. Their offense looked as though they missed Ben Johnson more than anyone has ever missed anyone. So my question to you is, was that real or was it a false start?
I think it's a false start. Listen, I think Dan Campbell, they average, and so I think they get this thing right. So I think that was a false start. I think Detroit gets better.
They got steamrolled. Let's go to the Vikings next. We were so impressed, and we talked about it all yesterday morning. What J.J. McCarthy did in the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter alone opened up a lot of eyes. But that's just one quarter so far. So the idea that he's now going to be their guy, is that a false start or is that something you think is real?
I don't think it's a false start. I think this is real. And again, he didn't play well in the first 3 quarters. Obviously had a hot fourth quarter. They end up winning the game. But you saw how everybody trusted in him, including his head coach, KOC. This guy's got the goods. He'll continue to get better throughout the season.
Then the last one, and I will avert my eyes. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns and no picks in his revenge game against the Jets.
Revenge!
Just all of a sudden people are saying, oh, that looked like the old MVP Rodgers. Is that real or is that a false start?
That is a false start. He got corner's not going to be at 3 yards off in the middle and get run by. Like, we're not going to do some of those things. So the Jets helped a little bit by being overly aggressive, in my opinion. I don't think teams will give that. I think teams could put pressure on him unless their offensive line gets.
They keep hearing that, but no one knows Aaron Rodgers better than the Jets did. He had been there the last 2 years. Why would they have been playing directly into his hands?
Well, Aaron Glenn is an aggressive play caller on defense, and he's going to blitz you no matter what, right? That's his calling card. So he trusted what happened. They'll get better on the back end of that Jets defense as well.
Wait for me over here. I feel like there is a hesitancy on the part of people to say what I think I saw the other day, which is Aaron Rodgers looked reborn. He looked like exactly what I was afraid he was going to be, which is all of a sudden he's on a competent team with competent coaching, and he looks like he can still play. And what am I missing?
No, I mean, I think that if you are looking for like around average quarterback play, I think you got that from Aaron Rodgers. I think the selling
average. He threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Is that average?
You got to watch the touchdowns. Like there's nothing in those touchdowns that makes me think, oh, for the Steelers to win. The reason why I and other people had faith in the Steelers is we thought that they would play great defense and ask Aaron Rodgers to make a couple plays here and there. He got hit entirely too much. And you saw he was a little panicky in the pocket once that started happening, which is fair. He was hitting the Jets in the face mask with footballs. Like, this game was not the MVP level Rodgers that I think that we are selling it as because he had 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Look, I think some of the things that we expected to happen in this game didn't. That was that the Steelers would play good, sound, fundamental defense, not be, giving up plus 20-yard explosives at the rate that they were. I think they'll get that corrected. I think we thought Pittsburgh would run the football a little bit better than they did. I think they'll get that corrected too, because that's what Arthur Smith is. The thing we didn't expect, that people are having a hard time grappling with, is the fact that the play-action passing game, Arthur Smith's play calling, all were like on it. They were on it the entire game. And people were going, remember, people wanted to run Arthur Smith out of Pittsburgh. They didn't think he was a good offensive coordinator. Didn't want Pittsburgh to sign Aaron Rodgers. But he delivered relative to what they had to offer yesterday. So, look, I think it is sustainable. You can't get him hit the way they got him hit. You better average
21 Rams where it was like, let's get Odell, let's get Von Miller, let's bring in Stafford, and they go away and they're just on the rise. Or it could be the 2004 Lakers with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, and you're like, we put all the pieces together on paper, we're good, right? And then it's like, this team, Jalen Ramsey played great.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf played great. Jonnu Smith showed up. All of the new acquisitions, in addition to Rodgers, all played great. It's 1 week. It's a 17-week season. None of these guys are exactly young and fresh legs.
Born again is a bit much.
Well, I mean,
I'd just say.
I understand that. What I'm saying is, That was a performance that we did not see in either of the last. Well, he didn't really only had one season with the Jets. At no point did it look like that last year. It didn't really look like that his final year. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. He completed 73% of his passes for 4 touchdowns and no picks. You've got the Jets this week, right, against the Bills. Have you had a chance to hear from them yet on what they thought of what Rodgers did?
Let me tell you right now, Aaron Glenn does not want to talk about Rodgers anymore. He's over that. No, I think, with Aaron Rodgers, I think he got a tickle out of playing the way he did. I think the question of whether it's sustainable, you said, yes, it's sustainable, as long as he doesn't get hit that much, as long as the defense does all those things.
All right, Steelers Nation, gather around, because what we just witnessed in Week 1 against the Jets wasn't just another regular season opener. This was a statement. This was Aaron Rodgers planting the black and gold flag right in the middle of MetLife Stadium, and Calvin Austin pulling back the curtain to let us know exactly how it all went down on that final game-winning drive. Now let's set the scene. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with all eyes on Aaron Rodgers in his debut, facing off against his old team, the same New York Jets who moved on from him after that brutal Achilles injury and 2 rocky seasons. And across the field, Justin Fields, the guy who wore the black and gold last year, who we let walk, now trying to prove the Steelers wrong in green. This was the NFL's version of a movie script, and it lived up to the hype. The scoreboard told the story, 34-32. 66 combined points, defense optional for most of the night. It was like 2 heavyweight boxers trading punches, and you just knew it was going to come down to who had the ball last. And when it mattered most, the ball was in the hands of number 8 in black and gold, Aaron Rodgers. Now here's the part that really sends chills down your spine. Calvin Austin revealed what Rodgers said before that final drive. And the truth? He didn't say much, because he didn't have to. That's leadership, that's experience, that's greatness. Austin said Rodgers was calm, poised, collected, no panic, no overcoaching, no long speeches, just a man who had been there before. He looked at his receivers, he pointed, he adjusted, he visualized every play in his mind before the snap. Austin said it himself, Rodgers was already seeing the defense, already knowing where the ball needed to go. All the young guys had to do was trust them, run their routes, and the ball would find them. That is the difference between what the Steelers have had under center since Ben Roethlisberger retired and what they have now. For years, we've been begging for stability, for consistency, for someone who can not just manage the game but take it over when everything's on the line. And in his first game as a Steeler, Aaron Rodgers delivered exactly that. Think about this for a second. Before Rodgers, the last time the Steelers scored a touchdown on their opening drive of a season was all the way back in 2008. The last time a quarterback threw 4 touchdowns in a game was Ben's final season in 2020. That's how long it's been since Steelers fans had this much confidence in their offense. And Rodgers didn't just put up numbers, he made everyone around him better. Calvin Austin looked like a true WR2. DK Metcalf did his thing as WR1. Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith, even role players like Ben Skowronek. Everyone got involved. And let's give Calvin Austin his flowers, because this kid proved something on Sunday. 4 catches, 70 yards, a touchdown, and he drew that crucial pass interference penalty at the end. That's production. That's reliability. That's exactly what we needed behind DK Metcalf. Remember all those rumors about maybe trading for Tyreek Hill? After what we saw from Austin, do the Steelers really need to mortgage the future for another receiver? Probably not. This offense already looks dangerous, and Austin showed he can handle that WR2 spot with Rodgers delivering him the ball. Now, I want to circle back to Rodgers for a second, because this wasn't just about revenge against the Jets. This was about showing the entire NFL that he's not done. People doubted him after that Achilles injury. People said he was too old, too slow, that he couldn't play at a high level anymore. But against his old team in their building, Rodgers lit him up for 4 touchdowns and nearly 240 yards, completing 22 of 30 passes. That's efficiency. That's accuracy. That's the kind of performance that makes Steelers fans believe this team can do something special this season. Yes, the defense gave up too much. Yes, letting the Jets run wild at times and putting 32 points on the board isn't ideal. But for the first time in years, the worry in Pittsburgh isn't about whether the offense can score. The worry is about shoring up the defense. And when was the last time we could say that? And let's not forget the ending. Jalen Ramsey sealing the deal with that dramatic pass breakup on Garrett Wilson. That's why Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin went out and made the moves they did this offseason. That's why they brought in veterans who know how to step up in the biggest moments. Ramsey made that play because he's been in those moments before, just like Rodgers orchestrated that final drive because he's been in those moments before. Steelers Nation, we have a quarterback again. And it feels so damn good to say that. From Ben Roethlisberger's retirement until now, it's been a revolving door of false hope, young projects, and stopgap veterans. But Rodgers has changed everything. This isn't just about one win over the Jets. This is about setting the tone for the entire season. And let's be real. If Rodgers stays healthy, if Calvin Austin continues to emerge as a legit WR2, if DK Metcalf keeps being the dominant WR1 we all know he can be, this team is going to be a problem in the AFC. People will doubt. People will say the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Bills are all better. But you know what? Those teams don't have the momentum the Steelers have right now. So here's my message to the rest of the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers are back. And for the first time since Ben hung up his cleats, we've got a real quarterback who can take us where we want to go. Now, I want to hear from you, Steelers Nation. What did you think of Aaron Rodgers' debut? Were you as impressed as I was with Calvin Austin stepping up as WR2? And do you think this team really needs to chase someone like Tyreek Hill, or are we set with what we've got? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you're excited about this new look Steelers offense. And don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire for more passionate takes and breaking news all season long. This is just the beginning, folks. And trust me, if this is how it starts, I can't wait to see how it ends.